Welcome back to my channel. It started with a single bang of the judge's gavel, just one. But that one sharp strike shattered years of silence, cutting straight through the carefully constructed walls Kody Brown had built around his life. His empire, his control, his carefully guarded world, it all began to crumble under the harsh fluorescent lights of a packed courtroom. But it wasn't the judge who ignited the explosion. It was Mary. And what she screamed next would haunt everyone in that room forever. The morning air outside the courthouse was sharp, biting, every breath visible in the weak sunlight. There was a strange energy on the sidewalk, a mix of hope and dread. Because everyone knew this day wasn't just about law or money. Today, the Brown family's deepest secrets were about to be dragged into the open. News vans were double-parked, their cables crisscrossing the concrete, reporters huddled, whispering in urgent tones. Inside, the courthouse felt alive and ancient at once, echoes bouncing off stone walls, shoes squeaking against linoleum floors, the click of a bailiff's keys loud as thunder. The main courtroom was jam-packed. Strangers, distant relatives, bloggers, former friends, all eyes fixed on the drama about to unfold. Fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows, clinging to every corner like a witness to history. Kody sat at the defense table, back ramrod straight, suit jacket stretched across shoulders that looked 10 years older. Gray streaked his hair. His jaw was tight, hardened. He didn't look at anyone, not the audience, not his wives, not even his lawyer. He stared straight ahead, as if sheer will could bend reality. Robyn sat beside him, pale, mascara smudged from a sleepless night. She twisted her wedding band nervously, fingers trembling in her lap. Christine and Janelle were right behind, side by side, not touching but connected by years of shared history. Christine's face was still, her lips pressed tight, eyes sharp, icy even. Janelle tapped her pen against a legal pad, a nervous rhythm betraying her calm facade. And Mary was a storm contained in a human form, silent, unreadable, but every fiber of her being fixed on Kody. Tension radiated from her shoulders, signaling that the dam was about to break. Everyone could feel it. Something monumental was coming. The bailiff's voice boomed. All rise. Chairs scraped. The judge entered, robes swirling, expression grim. A flicker of hope ran through the room. Maybe, just maybe, it could end quietly. But the illusion didn't last. The prosecutor's voice cut through the air like a knife. Your Honor, this isn't a simple family dispute. She gestured to towers of binders, financial records, property deeds, old bank statements. Every word she spoke layered pressure on the room, each syllable another brick in the wall closing in on Kody. Kody's lawyer tried to intervene, but the judge's hand slammed down. Let her speak. The air tightened. Anxiety buzzed like electricity. Hands gripped purses, knees bounced. Then came the documents, pages upon pages of property transfers, secret withdrawals, hidden signatures. Each sheet told stories of late-night meetings, secret deals, and money that vanished into thin air. Kody's jaw flexed silently. His lawyer flipped furiously through notes. Mary's eyes burned daggers at him, piercing through years of betrayal. Christine leaned toward Janelle, whispering, a flicker of sisterhood and solidarity, fragile but present. The courtroom grew heavier. Witnesses came forward, friends and business partners, each revealing deals gone wrong, promises broken, money gone missing. One remembered Kody's words, "This land belongs to all of us. No secrets." The irony was suffocating. Kody's hands flexed. Time seemed to crawl. Robyn reached for his hand. He pulled away, expression blank. The judge called a recess. Hallways filled with murmurs. Did you hear that? I knew something was off. Christine and Janelle huddled near a window, whispering fiercely. If I stayed quiet, maybe the family will hold together. But now, Christine's voice trembled with the weight of betrayal. Mary sat alone on a wooden bench, hands clenched, taking shaky breaths. Then slowly, deliberately, she stood, heading back toward the courtroom doors. Every step, every pause, screamed tension. The air seemed to hold its breath. Court resumed. The judge, wearied but resolute, called for the next piece of evidence, a voicemail. Kody's own voice, late at night, discussing money, secrecy, and deception. Collective gasps filled the room. Every word was another nail in the coffin. Kody's lawyer objected, but the judge shook his head. The pattern is clear, counselor. The pattern is what matters. All eyes turned to Mary. Her voice, unsteady at first, grew stronger with every word. We all made sacrifices for this family, but we didn't agree to this. Kody flushed red. Mary, please, not now. But she didn't back down. Not anymore. You don't get to tell me to be quiet anymore. Not ever. Outside, reporters readied cameras. Inside, the Browns were caught in a private storm. Love twisted into rivalry, trust shattered, years of silence exploding into truth. Then the final bombshell, a property transfer for Coyote Pass, signed by Kody and Robyn, executed nearly 2 years ago, without Mary, Christine, or Janelle's consent. Gasps reverberated across the room. Reporters paused mid-note. Robyn's shoulders shook. Christine whispered, "How could they?" Kody tried to speak, rasping, weak. "Your Honor," the judge cut him off. "You'll have your turn. For now, let the evidence speak." The prosecutor's gaze swept the courtroom. This wasn't just about land. It's about trust, who gets protected, who gets sacrificed. Robyn's voice was barely audible. "We did what we had to do. It wasn't about hurting anyone." Christine exploded, standing abruptly. "You promised, Kody. On our children's lives. You promised we'd never be blindsided. And you, Robyn, you were supposed to be our sister, not our enemy." The judge slammed the gavel. "Mrs. Brown, sit down, or I will clear the courtroom." Christine sank, trembling. What would you do if you realized your entire life was built on lies? The Browns were about to find out, and nothing would ever be the same. Mary's voice cut through the courtroom like a blade, low, sharp, unyielding. "You're always trying to hold things together. But it's always for you, Kody. Never for us." Silence swallowed the room. Only the quiet, broken sound of Robyn crying filled the air. The judge turned to Janelle. "Mrs. Brown, did you have any knowledge of this transfer?" Janelle shook her head, her face lost, her composure crumbling for the first time. "No, Your Honor. None at all. I trusted him." Tears glistened in her eyes. You could almost feel the floor shift beneath the Browns, foundation cracking, fissures widening with every word. Next, the court called a notary public. A stranger, official, with the weight of authority, they testified to the date, the time, the unusual urgency of the transfer. Only Kody and Robyn were present that night. Robyn's face turned away, tears silently streaming. Kody avoided every gaze, staring at the floor like it could swallow him whole. The prosecutor didn't flinch. "Your Honor, we request that all family assets be frozen until the full scope of this deception is revealed." The judge nodded gravely. Request granted. A shudder ran through the courtroom. This was no longer drama, it was fear. Homes, futures, livelihoods, all suddenly in jeopardy. Christine whispered to Janelle, "What do we do now? We can't even pay the mortgage if they freeze the accounts." Janelle's face hardened. "We fight for our kids, for what's right." Mary rose, trembling but fierce. "He didn't just steal money. He stole our choices. Our future. I want to testify." The judge allowed it. And as Mary approached the stand, her eyes locked on Kody with a look so fierce, he finally dropped his gaze. Her voice was steady at first. "I stayed because I believed. I forgave because I thought families were supposed to forgive. But you used that, Kody. Every time I asked questions, you called me jealous. Every time I wanted to see the bank accounts, you called me controlling. But now, I see what you were hiding." The prosecutor leaned forward. "Mrs. Brown, what do you want from this court?" Mary didn't hesitate. "I want my life back. I want the truth. I want everyone to see what really happened." Robyn sobbed quietly, pressing a crumpled tissue to her face. Kody looked hollow, empty. The judge called a short recess. Outside, The winter air bit at the reporters' faces, but the Browns moved like statues, faces carved from stone, shields up. Inside, the courtroom hummed with anxiety. The next session would bring a witness with nothing left to lose and a journal filled with secrets that could tear the family apart. Night settled over the courthouse like a heavy, suffocating blanket. Windows became black mirrors. Inside, lights buzzed softly, creating a pressure behind the eyes. Benches creaked under shifting bodies, exhausted yet unable to look away. The room felt less like a courtroom and more like a confessional, but no one sought forgiveness. They sought the truth. The bailiff stepped forward, calling for order. Tension coiled tighter, invisible ropes squeezing every chest. "Next witness," he announced. Gasping ran through the room. It was the nanny, the one who lived with the family years ago, saw everything yet stayed silent until today. She entered quietly, clutching a weathered leather-bound journal. Her steps were hesitant, almost apologetic, but her haunted eyes said she had been waiting for this moment far longer than anyone imagined. She sat, took the oath, and opened the journal like it was alive. Pages yellowed, ink faded. Her hands trembled slightly. "I never meant to get involved," she whispered. "But what I saw, I couldn't forget. So I wrote it down." Every eye leaned in. Even the judge stayed unnaturally still. She read the first entry. July 3rd, Kody and Robyn met in the study again at midnight. Whispered for an hour. I heard the words accounts, transfer, and don't tell the others. Mary cried in her room tonight. I wanted to knock, but I didn't. Mary closed her eyes, pain rippling across her face. Christine's hand lifted halfway toward her, then dropped. Janelle stiffened. Robyn turned away, tears streaking her cheeks. The nanny continued. August 14th, Christine asked why the credit card was declined. She tried to hide how scared she was, but her voice cracked. Kody blamed her spending. She apologized. Christine's sharp intake of breath echoed like a warning through the room. The prosecutor urged her on. The defense objected, calling the diary hearsay, but the judge allowed it, not as hard evidence, but as pattern, context, and supporting testimony. Page after page, the nanny revealed the hidden life of the Browns. Late-night arguments, locked doors, whispered fights, missing deposit slips, secret receipts, Robyn pacing the hallways at midnight, whispering into her phone. The courtroom shifted, feeling the floor crack beneath them. If you think secrets can't hurt you once the moment has passed, think again, the nanny said quietly. The Browns were learning the cruel truth. The past always returns, and it comes with a price. She turned to a thicker section, pages stained with coffee and tears. This was the worst week. September 2nd. Mary begged Kody for transparency. She said she felt invisible. He snapped at her, told her she ruined every conversation. The room held its collective breath. Every word was another fracture in the Brown family empire. She apologized again. The words hit like a punch to the gut. Mary's face crumpled, shoulders shaking as years of buried shame poured out in front of the world. The sterile courtroom lights left no shadow for hiding. Everything she had carried alone was laid bare. The nanny's voice continued, calm yet haunting. September 4th, Janelle asked about the savings account. Kody got red in the face. Robyn jumped in, saying the money was where it needed to be. Janelle's eyes had stopped trusting that night. She wiped her cheeks, jaw trembling, trying to hold herself together. September 6th, the nanny read on. Christine packed a small suitcase. She sat on the edge of her bed for an hour. Then she unpacked it. The silence was suffocating. Christine pressed her hands over her mouth, shoulders collapsing inward, memories clawing to the surface, memories she thought she had buried forever. Each line of the diary was a wound opening, each wound belonging to someone who had trusted the wrong person for far too long. The prosecutor leaned forward. Did you ever confront Mr. Brown about what you saw? The nanny nodded slowly. Once. Just once. He told me family matters aren't for outsiders. Her next words cut even deeper. The next week, he told me my position was no longer needed. Kody's jaw tightened. That's not what happened, he murmured. The judge slammed the gavel. You will remain silent until addressed. The nanny flipped through pages, the entries growing darker, the tension in the room thickening, shifting from shock to heartbreak, then to something far more dangerous. Anger. And then came the page that would shake the Brown family to its core. October 12th. I found documents in the study. Bank transfers, signatures, money moved into an account I'd never seen. The name wasn't any of the wives. It was someone else. The judge straightened. The prosecutor's eyes narrowed. Whose name? The nanny hesitated, then whispered, almost afraid to speak. A woman named Elise. I don't know who she is. Time froze. Robyn's hand flew to her mouth. Christine's eyes widened. Janelle stiffened, electric shock running down her spine. Even the reporters paused mid-typing. Mary's stare could have cut steel. Kody's face drained of all color. This is being twisted, he muttered, but the nanny continued. Robyn knew about the transfers. A choked gasp escaped Christine. Janelle's jaw dropped. Mary's chest rose sharply, her breath trembling, suspicion finally snapping into brutal clarity. Robyn buried her face in her hands, sobbing. The courtroom erupted, not in shouting, but in stunned, horrified whispers. Even the security guards exchanged wide-eyed glances. I didn't want to hurt anyone, the nanny whispered, voice breaking, but I couldn't carry this anymore. The judge allowed a moment of silence. It stretched endlessly, suffocating. Then the prosecutor asked the question everyone had been dreading. Did you ever hear Mr. Brown or Mrs. Robyn Brown discuss hiding money from the other wives? Tears gathered in the nanny's eyes. Yes, she whispered. More than once. Kody closed his eyes, as if he could block it all out. Robyn shook uncontrollably. Christine's voice quivered. You let us fight each other. You made us blame one another for years. The judge slammed the gavel again, face red with frustration. Order. This court will not become a circus. We are dealing with serious allegations, fraud, forgery, and potentially theft. Janelle rose, voice sharp, trembling yet fierce. All these years, I tried to believe you. I thought if I just worked harder, loved more, we'd survive anything. But you took away my choices, my future, my security. You betrayed us for what? For some stranger? For power? Christine's voice broke, raw with grief and fury. And you made us fight while you schemed behind our backs. The courtroom descended into chaos. Pain, fury, disbelief, scribbling reporters, flashing cameras, murmuring witnesses. The bailiff moved cautiously, hands ready to intervene. Through the shouting, the judge's voice thundered, commanding every ear. Order. The forensic accountant was next. A tall man in a charcoal suit, silver hair slicked back, calm and precise. He opened his files, clicked a remote, and charts lit up behind him. 7 years of financial transfers, offshore accounts, shell companies, money siphoned away systematically. Some signatures forged. Robyn's, Mary's, Christine's, Janelle's, Kody's, overlapping, inconsistent. Gasps erupted. Kody's face went ashen. Robyn looked ready to collapse. Over $2 million, the accountant said, calm but devastating. Most recently, large sums went to an account under the name Elise Chapman. Christine nearly dropped her glass. Kody said nothing. Robyn shrank further into herself. The prosecutor's voice was steady, slicing through the tension. We will be calling Elise Chapman as a witness, Your Honor. The room froze again. Elise Chapman, unknown, mysterious, but now the center of the storm. The judge leaned forward, face carved from stone. Who authorized these transactions? The accountant's eyes locked on Kody and Robyn. Only they had access. Kody tried to respond. I can explain. Mary's voice roared, raw and cutting. You can explain after everything you put us through. You lied to us, Kody. To all of us. Kody slumped in his chair, defeated. Robyn sobbed, head buried in her hands. Janelle pointed, trembling but resolute. You betrayed us for some stranger? For more power? Christine's voice cracked, filled with rage and grief. You let us fight while you plotted behind our backs. The judge slammed the gavel again. Chaos, voices, reporters scribbling every word. Order, he shouted, pounding the gavel, face red with frustration. This court will not descend into madness. We are dealing with serious allegations of fraud, forgery, and theft. The judge turned to the accountant. Anything else? The accountant produced one final piece of evidence, an email from Kody to Robyn, subject line, final transfer. He read aloud. After this, we're done. No more questions. No more loose ends. We'll tell them it's for the family. A hush fell. The courtroom held its breath. The judge ordered a recess. Outside, reporters swarmed. The wives, frozen, barely acknowledged the chaos. Inside, Christine collapsed onto a bench, Janelle beside her, numb. Mary paced, fists clenched, lips trembling. He's ruined us. He's ruined everything. Robyn was gone, hidden away in the maze of side corridors. The camera would linger on broken faces, hunched shoulders, a family shredded by greed and betrayal. When court resumed, a tall, nervous-looking woman was escorted in, Elise Chapman. Her voice barely a whisper confirmed the unimaginable. Money had passed from Kody and Robyn into her accounts. She had trusted them, never knowing it was their deception, their theft. The judge's final declaration came, unflinching. Based on the evidence, I am ordering an immediate audit of all Brown family accounts. All assets are frozen. Mr. Brown, Mrs. Brown, Robyn, you are under investigation for fraud, conspiracy, and embezzlement. Bailiff, take them into custody. The sound of handcuffs echoed. The courtroom held its collective breath. Mary, defiant despite tears, whispered, "This isn't the end. We're still here. We survived him. We can survive this. But this wound may never heal." Rain lashed the courthouse windows, turning the light inside into trembling gold and silver shadows. Kody and Robyn were led away. The remaining Browns, shattered, braced for the final verdict, knowing their lives would never be the same again. Robyn, escorted back into the courtroom, trembles beside Kody. The judge's voice pierces the silence. After reviewing the evidence, the forged documents, secret transfers, and the testimonies of those harmed, this court finds both Mr. Kody Brown and Mrs. Robyn Brown guilty of fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and embezzlement of marital assets. A stunned moan echoes through the room. Not gasps, not cries, just disbelief. For the gravity of these crimes, for the breach of trust and years of deception, I hereby sentence Kody Brown to 23 years in state custody. Robyn Brown, for your role, you are sentenced to 8 years. Robyn collapses in sobs.
Kody whispers no, repeatedly.
Bailiffs step forward, arms ready. The world closes in. Assets will be liquidated to repay damages. Remaining funds will be divided equally among the wives and children, the judge adds. Christine exhales shakily. Janelle's silent tears streak her face. Mary leans back, drained but relieved. Finally, someone listened. Outside, reporters press against the glass, shouting questions. Kody?
Christine?
What happens next? But inside, there's only heartbreak. Mary watches from the courtroom, raw but unafraid. Christine feels anger slowly giving way to hope. Janelle's shoulders sag under years of weight, but maybe she's ready to start over. Robyn clings to her last moments of freedom. Kody, broken, locks eyes with Mary for a fleeting moment. She doesn't flinch. He looks down. The bailiffs escort Kody and Robyn out. Cuffs glint in harsh light. The doors swing shut. The courtroom exhales. The family slips away through a side door. In a small, mismatched waiting room, silence reigns. Janelle finally whispers, "We need to go home, or whatever home is now." Christine nods, voice shaky. "We'll figure it out, for the kids, for ourselves." Mary stands by the window, rain dripping outside. He always said we'd be together forever. But maybe we can survive without him. The Brown women stand together. not as wives betrayed, but as survivors ready to reclaim their lives. The news breaks in real time. Kody Brown sentenced to 23 years. Social media explodes. Gossip, outrage, sympathy. But for the Browns, it's about quiet moments of freedom, the chance to breathe again. Under patchwork umbrellas, they leave the courthouse. Moonlight spills across wet pavement. Christine glances back. "We survived," she whispers. Mary nods. "And now we get to live our story." At home, the aftermath continues. Children cry, some are furious, others confused. The Brown women hold them close, answering questions with honesty. Then a knock at the door changes everything. A stranger, nervous, clutching papers. "I think Kody Brown is my father," she says.
I'm Hannah.
Shock hangs in the room. Mary's voice soft. "Do you have anywhere to stay tonight?" Hannah shakes her head. Janelle steps forward. "You'll stay here, with us." The night turns into quiet conversation, laughter, and fragile hope. The Browns are learning that family isn't only blood or marriage. It's who stands by you when the world falls apart. Morning brings new challenges. Lawsuits, frozen assets, social media frenzy. But the women face it together. They hire a lawyer, organize documents, and prepare to fight. Not for Kody, not for the cameras, but for themselves and their children. Days pass. The children find solace in small moments. Christine, Janelle, Mary, and now Hannah start building a new family rhythm. Even after betrayal, heartbreak, and secrets revealed, hope slowly grows. A letter arrives from Robyn in prison. "I'm sorry for my part. Tell the kids I love them. I hope one day we can all find peace." Christine reads it aloud. Silence follows. Forgiveness now is for themselves, not Kody.
Spring arrives.
The old house on Coyote Pass is sold. The women drive across the land one last time. Christine tucks a wildflower into her hair. "We built something here. Not what we thought it would be, but it's ours now." Janelle squeezes her shoulder. "We survived." Mary laughs softly. "Kody always said we'd be together forever. Maybe he was right, just not the way he thought." The Browns stand on the porch, wind in their hair, letting go of the past. Stories that break you open also make you stronger. They've been judged by the world, but now they get to decide who they want to be. Hannah smiles. Christine embraces her children. The Browns aren't healed, not yet, but they're moving forward together.